Jake, let's make this monitor real easy. Let's talk about these little soft buttons here, and then let's just walk through as an overview each of the little highlighted areas.
Of course. We're going to start at the top and just work our way down.
Perfect.
So the general, it looks like an alarm bell. When this thing alarms, you can silence it.
Oh, good.
At the moment, it's not alarming. Hopefully throughout this scenario, we'll be able to actually put it into practice. But all I got to do is have that alarm. It will silence it. It's not forever. It's roughly about a minute, and it will start alarming again. You can manipulate those alarm settings. We'll talk about that later, but that button gives you about a minute's silence. I will say this, if it alarms, please look. It's alarming for a reason. Don't get in the habit of just hitting the button and just ignoring it. Look at why it's alarming.
Gotcha.
Going further down, you'll see the home button. When you turn this monitor on, you'll see a default screen. The screen that you see right now is the default view. You'll see just general lead placement and all the blood pressure BLSs on my left-hand side of the screen. If I hit the home button, you'll get a different view. This is a trend. So David, if you had to describe what a trend is, what is a trend and why is that important?
The trend is what's going to, looking at your vital signs over 3 to 5 minutes usually. Yep. So that can tell you if your patient's doing better or going worse.
And I'll tell you, especially nowadays, since we're on scene for a long period of time, you probably need some trends. You need to reassess and assess patients. See where you're going. If they're getting better, they're getting worse. That trend screen is important, especially when you're going to transfer over. You kind of need to know where you're going so they understand what you did.
Yeah, remember for the paramedics particularly, that's going to show you your endotracheal tube is still good. We're going to have our end tidal CO2 on there, or to try to see if like our cyanide kit's working.
Correct.
So yeah.
Further down, obviously these are the main buttons that we kind of interact with. The circles are selectors, so wherever we navigate on the screen, if we hit that circle, that's how we actually select the option that we want to manipulate.
Okay.
This is our up and our down all over the screen. So if you see that blue is moving all over that screen, that's your selector.
Perfect.
So that's how you manipulate the actual screen of this monitor. Below that is the actual snapshot. This is probably the most important button on this side in the sense of what the capabilities are. Number one, the obvious capability is if you see some sort of abnormality. So prime example is for a paramedic on an ACLS, ALS perspective.
Okay.
We have a tachycardic rhythm, someone who's an SVT. That's something that we want to capture. Would you agree with, David?
Correct.
So especially before we convert them, meaning we give them medication, give them some sort of electrical therapy to make them better. We want to capture that moment. So that's what that camera's called. It's called a capture, snapshot. So when we hit that button, it actually gives us about a 12-second time frame. 12 seconds before we hit the button and 12 seconds after. And a hopes to be able to obtain that.
So much better.
Yeah.
Instead of you all trying to hit the print as you're pushing your adenosine or something, we can actually just let the treatment work, and then when we see it working, push the button.
Essentially, it does it for you.
Awesome.
It makes it so much easier.
It's perfect.
The other benefit of it, which is if you're looking from a QA perspective, if you hit that button, it'll actually potentially take a photo of that moment. Again, that 12 seconds before, 12 seconds after, and when you upload it to the actual your report, it'll actually capture it in your report. So if you've ever actually gone through Image Trend, gone through the monitor section and actually looked at images, if you don't hit that button, usually you just have maybe a 3-second snapshot.
Correct.
If you hit that camera, it's going to give you that full duration.
We're talking 24 seconds.
Yes.
12 before the incident and 12 after the incident.
When you're looking at documentation, that's important.
Yes.
You need that perspective.
Remember also in the snapshot, it actually is going to give you all your intervals. So it's actually going to tell you your PR interval, your QRS, and everything else. So it will actually give you your numbers.
A lot of benefits within that one button.
So perfect.
Going further down, obviously we know the blood pressure.